I'm going to be giving a speech on why we need to reevaluate maritime border security in the United States. So just start out with, I'm going to give a quick overview of what maritime security is in the United States. So the U.S. Maritime Border Security is headed by the Department of Homeland Security, and it's been, the Department of Homeland Security was enacted in 2002, and its maritime security sector is a combination of the United States Coast Guard, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Office of Air and Marine, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Their main missions are to enforce legal immigration, customs, environmental, drugs, and violations of U.S. law. So just to start out with why we need a reevaluation of maritime border security. So I have three main points. The first one is because the maritime seaports are the biggest imports and exports of U.S. goods. We need to increase, because of increased security on land borders with Trump's wall, Trump Curtis will be going to the maritime spectrum in order to smuggle narcotics and other things into the country. And lastly, with the Arctic Circle slowly melting, our northern border will, between U.S. and Russia, will soon be able to be transited really well. So we need a tighten security up north. So to start out with marine seaports. Marine seaports are the most profound means of import and export goods from the U.S. In a study conducted by Slattery in the article, Congress and the Coast Guard need to do more to secure America's maritime borders. It said that $1.5 trillion worth of goods are imported in the United States each year. With this much import coming into the country, we need to enhance our border security in order to protect all those imports and exports. Secondly is our southern border. So, like I stated before, with Trump enacting the new wall on our southern land border, traffickers will be turning to our maritime sector in order to be trying to smuggle in goods. Congress just passed the Maritime Border Security Act to reevaluate our maritime borders. However, this mainly focuses on, according to the Act, the transit zone and the borders and territorial waters of Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So it doesn't cover the rest of the spectrum, the Pacific coast, main parts of the Atlantic coast, and the Gulf of Mexico. In addition, this is from the U.S. Coast Guard's fiscal year 2017 annual performance report. It was stated that over 223.8 metric tons of cocaine were seized, 31,190 pounds of marijuana, 6 kilograms of heroin and other opiates, and 168 kilograms of methamphetamine, worth an estimate of $6.6 million on the wholesale market. So those were all the narcotics and everything that were seized in fiscal year 17 by the U.S. Coast Guard. And this just shows what stuff is coming into our country and why we need to have tighter maritime border security on the southern border. Like I stated before, there has not been a reevaluation in regards to the Gulf of Mexico, the Pacific coast, which are some of the largest trafficking routes that there are, as opposed to just U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Lastly is the northern Arctic border. Like stated before, the Arctic Circle is slowly melting and making it easier to transit between Russia and the United States. According to an article from the U.S. Naval Institute Proceedings, Russia has the largest ice-breaking ship fleet in the world with 41 total ice-breaking ships. And they're continuing operations in the Arctic region and are upping their efforts in the region. As opposed to the United States, who only has 2 functioning U.S. Coast Guard ice-breaking cutters, The Polar Star, which was commissioned in 1976, and its sister ship is currently is being used for parts. And the Alex Haley, which is mainly being utilized for scientific research rather than defense or commerce. So, like I stated before, Russia has 41 current icebreakers in the Arctic Circle, which are making routes for cargo, which are conducting maritime border security for Russia, and also operate military operations for them, as opposed to the United States, which really only has one icebreaking cutter that is utilized for defense and commerce. So we definitely need to have a reevaluation of maritime border security in the north. In conclusion, maritime border security is a very vital aspect of our country's national security. Maritime imports and exports are one of the biggest imports and exports of goods in the United States. And the maritime spectrum is extremely big. It's much greater than land borders. It's not as easy to track on maritime spectrums. There's so many places that you can pull into on the coast. In addition, the southern maritime border needs a reevaluation in conjunction with the land border. So as we conduct reevaluations of land borders, as we've seen with Trump's inaction of the wall, we also, in conjunction with that, we also need to be having a reevaluation with maritime borders. And lastly, our northern border needs a reevaluation as Arctic ice begins to lessen and routes between Russia and the United States begin to form, meaning that we need to up our ice-breaking capabilities and ways to defend ourselves from anything that would happen in the Arctic Circle. So thank you guys so much for being here for my speech. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.